Hello crafty friends, my name's Alicia, but you can call me Crafty Al. In today's video, I'm going to be using some of the new products from Not Too Shabby to create a sheet load of Christmas in July cards. I hope you'll stick around to find out more. Welcome, or perhaps welcome back, to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here today. Not Too Shabby just had a new quarterly release, so I'm going to be using some of those new products as well as the July 2025 sheet load printable to create some quick and easy Christmas in July cards. If you haven't already grabbed the free July 2025 printable, I will have the debut video linked in the description box below so you can find out how to get it. Now this did originally call for 12 by 12 pattern paper, but because I am using Cozy Christmas paper pad from Not Too Shabby, which is 6 by 6, I need to change up the cutting just a little bit. To get started, I'm going to cut the piece in half at 3 inches tall and leave the width at 6 inches. If your pattern paper has a direction, make sure to keep that in mind before you make the first cut. Once both of those were cut in half, I took each section and cut it into a piece that was 4 1/4 inches wide, and then I kept that left over for pattern paper piece B. You may notice at this point that I don't have any pattern paper left over to be that skinny strip pattern paper piece C. I'm actually going to be doing my focal points a little bit differently, so I don't need to worry about that. I cut down those smaller pieces for my pattern paper piece B. For each of the cards, I need 4 pieces that are 1 inch wide, and then whatever they end up to be width-wise, because I will be covering up the middle of those, or where the gap is, with that first piece of pattern paper. I did finish cutting up the rest of the papers and cardstocks off camera. The only other thing I did different than the original process video was I cut coordinating cardstock mats to 4 1/2 by 3 1/4, which was that same size as the original pattern paper piece A. Now don't forget, you don't need to remember any of these dimensions, and if you want more help with the process, check out that description box below for those video links. And speaking of cardstock mats, my next step was to add pattern paper piece A to the center of those. I did choose different matte colors for the teddy bear and the little Christmas cupcake pattern paper. I did show it in the original process video, but I wanted to show you how I put those small strips onto a card front in case you haven't yet seen it. That piece of black cardstock is just a scrap I had, and it is cut to 5 1/2 inches wide and 3/4 of an inch tall. I temporarily tack that in place with some tape runner, and I align it with the top and bottom of the card base so that I can get those aligned nice and straight across. Scor-Buddies or Misties or a paper trimmer could all come in handy to do this. Once all of those little pieces were in place, I brought back in the matted pattern paper piece A and got those added to the center of the card front. Now this is a bit of a wider border, so I used that background grid there on my desktop to help me get those centered. For the sentiments on these, I'm using 2 of the stamps from the new Winter Wishes stamp set, and I cut a piece of cardstock that was about a 5-inch square. I'm going to stamp 2 of each of the mistletoe and kisses and sweater weather is better onto this piece of cardstock. All I need to do is set up the stamps once, and then I'm going to ink it up with that jalapeno ink, and then once that's done, I can just rotate that square of cardstock and stamp the second set. Off camera, I did some die cutting. I used circles to cut out the sentiments, a piece of vellum, and some of the leftover pattern paper. I wanted to make sure that you could see as many of those cute teddy bears as possible, so I will be putting this first sentiment over there to the left. So I make sure that the liquid on the vellum is hidden. I just put a little in the center, and then I'm going to pop up that sentiment and the little scrap circle with some foam tape. Let me know down in that comment section below if you've got started on your winter holiday card yet. For the cupcake cards, I used pretty much that same layout and process, but for this, I put the sentiment over to the right. To finish the cards off and add a little sparkle, I brought in the new vintage Christmas charm enamel dots and added a few to the front of each card. And here are some close-up looks at the finished set. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the new Not Too Shabby goodies in action and how I made a sheet load of Christmas cards. If you did, as always, a thumbs up is appreciated. Until my next video, I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch all the way to the end of the video. I hope now you'll consider clicking on one of the videos or playlists I have linked above. And if you are interested in any of the products or tools I used in today's video, I do have some links in the description box below.